you ever felt frustrated, overwhelmed, or stuck wasting time in admin instead of growing, leveraging, and scaling your business? Then this podcast is for you. Welcome to Delegate to Elevate, the podcast that's all about handing off what you don't need to do so you can focus on what you do best. So here's your host, Bonnie Schutz.
Hello. Welcome to Delegate to Elevate. Get done. This is your host, Bonnie Schutz. Nice to see you all today. I am recording this on video because I had a guest that was unable to record with me today, and I was all dressed up with no place to go. So what the heck? We'll go at it on my own. Thank you for joining me today. When I was thinking about what I could talk about on my own today, I had to dig a little deep and think about what's going on in my business. So my topic today has to do with when delegation goes wrong and handling inconsistent work and knowing when to just let it go. Again, there goes my song, Let It Go. Oh my. That's like, let's see what I can do with that later. So let's set the stage here. Have you ever hired someone maybe thinking, finally I can breathe? I know I have. But only to find yourself in the end micromanaging them and fixing their work later? Guilty. Or worse, keeping someone on board too long after you knew it wasn't working. And I have a personal story I can share with you about that. No names, but I had a team member that I promoted from the main level of my services to like a mid-level management because they had been with me for quite a while. And, I really valued this person's knowledge of me and ability to bonify their work and make it, what would Bonnie say? What would Bonnie do? And just intuitively be able to speak in my voice and put across, all that she knew about me in the way that I would. After years, we're talking years with my business. And so, I'd like to say that I didn't micromanage her. I'd like to say that I became more of a mentor. And I'm going to give back part of my life anyway. So, what the heck? It felt really good that I was building her up and I was giving her suggestions about things to do. And, it took a while. Her life had things going up and down, and I get it. I gave her grace. Things in my life went up and down, et cetera, et cetera. So it was always a give and take. And I totally feel like I probably showed too much grace for too long when it was time to build my company to the next level. I had to practice what I'm preaching here today. I have to delegate to elevate this business. Do I not? So I had to bring about some change. And instead of throwing profits at this person, I wanted to add a little of that little KPI spice. So when I added some KPIs, our whole dynamic changed. We were not the same as we used to be. And I was sad on one half and angry on the other that she couldn't see the value in this change to elevate the business. So it was a time when this challenge was like, I was so happy when I bumped her up into that role because I thought, yay, take this stuff off my plate, do this. And for a while it did work and it did give me freedom to, explore other things to do in the business. But, so bottom line is today we're going to talk about two of the biggest headaches when outsourcing, at least in my opinion. So what do you do when the work is inconsistent or not quality? And how do you know when it's time to move on? So let's talk first about the inconsistency. Here are some signs that you have a quality problem. So when you notice that their work is hit or miss, some tests are great, others are sloppy. Here's your sign. I'm stealing that too from a comedian, I think. One of those blue collar comedy guys. Anyway, here's your sign. Or you find yourself double checking everything they do. I am so guilty of this. So like the flags were just being thrown up into my virtual air. So clients noticed, I noticed, other people on the team were noticing errors before I even did. So they would keep over promising, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to make this so perfect. I get you. So over promising, but then you never really saw the fruits of that labor and those promises. They under delivered. So 1 week they were my rock star. And the next week, like, where did they go? Ghosts in the air, ghosts in the attic. They were gone. So they needed constant clarification. If I'm talking to you and you're trying to decide this is the inconsistency trap. They require constant clarification. Like years later, why should they not know this about me or what I would expect? So that's a sign. So what I'd like to suggest to you is to see if there's a way that you can fix it before you give them an axe, before you fire them. Fix it. See if you can fix it. So first, check yourself at the door. Okay. Check your expectations first. Here's some of those C words. Did you clearly define what good looks like? Give direct feedback and examples. Now, I may have fell short on this one. I probably gave indirect feedback and wrote samples down that I didn't share with her. Oh, Jesus, take the wheel. Life happens, right? So we'll just use me as an example. Did I ask them what's going on? Are they okay? Can I help them in some way? Maybe something outside of work was causing the decline. There were times back in the day that we could talk about things like that. So kind of like one of my horrible memories in corporate, kind of like thinking back to when I was in corporate, and one of the very last jobs I had was when I was given what did they call it? A PIP, a PIP? I don't know, something improvement plan. What if you, instead of framing it like that, you set kind of a trial period for improvement and you deliver it lightly? It's just, let's just set this little period for some noticeable change. And I'd like to see you do this and that, give them a fair shot, but clarity, benchmarks. So by March, I'd like to see this tweaked a little bit, and you do that on the regular. You're always doing this. By May, you're doing this. Clear benchmarks. So then when it's time to move on, let's say we list a few or talk about some signs that it's time to let them go. And it's not easy, friends. It is not easy. I had to quickly discover this about myself, that I wasn't really good at it at all. So the signs that I can list for you today are these. You're fixing more than you're delegating. Oof, that one is a toughie. Like, I'm just a little anal retentive and I like to bonify things, as I've mentioned. But yeah, more than I'm handing off, I'm fixing. Bad sign. And a huge red flag is when you dread giving them tasks. You know darn well you have to give them a task. But the other side of you is going, oh, crap. What's this person going to do wrong now? Or they're giving you the resting face when you're on a Zoom because you're giving them some feedback. Oof. Gotta love that face, that no smile, no emotion face. I can't do it because it's just not in me. I'm not a resting face person. Anyway, so they're missing deadlines and excuses are constant. If it's not, my dog got stuck in the backyard under the rake. That was Anyway, you know what I'm saying. They're given excuses on the regular. Or you yourself, me, you're avoiding hard conversations with them. You're making the excuses for them to your clients and your team. Oh, it's time. Oh my gosh. This is hitting me home while I think about it. It is so hitting home. Oof. Blah. So, how to let them go the right way. So, always prepare in advance, document those performance issues, and set up a transition plan. I recently did this. At the top of this show here today, I talked about my own personal story, and I am continuing to refer to it. I gave a 1-month notice to let this person go. They were completely shocked, as maybe I would have been back in the day as well, but it is business. It is not friendship. I didn't do this because I don't like them as a person. It was their quality of work had declined. So keep it professional and not personal. This isn't working for the business versus you're bad at this. And that should just be a given. I mean, who talks to people like that? Anyways, so offer a nice, clean exit. If possible, give them time to wrap up and transition their work to somebody else. I did that recently too, and it kind of went smoothly. I had a middleman woman that I didn't have to be that involved. I'm the CEO of my company. So I delegated to my mid-level manager to offload this person, to offboard this person for me. Do it. If you have the manpower, do it. Delegate that to somebody else on your team. So anywho, let's think about the takeaways here today. Not all inconsistent work means an automatic termination, right? Not all. Sometimes it's fixable. You can fix it. If the same issues persist and you're losing time, energy, and trust, big. That is like time to move on, folks. Time to move on. Those are so big. You don't have time to do this. You don't have the energy. And trust is paramount. You lose that trust and you're not verifying, as I've also mentioned before, there's your sign. Letting go of the wrong fit makes room for the right fit. Boom. Makes room. So in closing, if you are struggling with delegation, stay tuned. I'll be diving into how to find and onboard the right people in an upcoming episode for you. So if this episode hit a nerve or saved you from a delegation disaster, let me know. Shoot me a DM, tag me, or just yell, "Thank you, Bonnie," into the void. I'll feel it, and I'll know that you're listening and you're getting something from this podcast. And if you're loving it, leave me a review. It helps more overworked service providers like you find their way to stress-free delegation. Until next time, delegate, elevate, and for the love of your sanity, don't micromanage. Ta-ta for now.
So that's it for today's episode of Delegate to Elevate. Head on over to Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen and subscribe to the show. One lucky listener every single week that posts a review on Apple Podcasts or iTunes will win a chance in the grand prize drawing to win a $15,000 private VIP day with Bonnie herself. Be sure to head on over to delegatetoelevatepodcast.com. That's with the number 2. And pick up a free copy of Bonnie's gift and join us on the next episode.